The Clippers lost to the Suns in the Western Conference Finals last season, and the Suns this year are the first team to 30 wins. So despite all that talk about how the run was a fluke, they are proving this season that they are one of the best teams in the NBA. Once again, they improved their roster with JaVale McGee and Landry Shamet. And one of the biggest surprises this season for them has been Jalen Smith. He was a lottery pick for the Suns. They picked him over Tyrese Halliburton, Devin Vassell. Everybody went crazy, me included, when that happened. But in the last 6 games, when he's gotten extended minutes, he's averaged 15.8 points per game, 10.2 rebounds, 1 block in 25 minutes, and he has a plus 9.8 differential when he is on the court. And an interesting fact, the Suns declined his option, which is going to make him a 2022-23 for unrestricted free agent of that summer. So basically, next year, not this offseason, but next offseason, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. What do you think about the Suns being the first team to 30 wins, and what do you think about Jalen Smith basically resurrecting his career? Because I know a lot of people ruled him out, me included, when he wasn't playing.
Well, they just keep punching people in the mouth, me included. You know, they just keep proving the haters wrong, me included. You know what I'm saying? They just keep doing it. You know, first team to 30. It should have been the Warriors. They lost to the Pelicans, though, but I ain't gonna speak on that. You know,
yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that the playoffs started because Curry's playing really bad.
Got him.
Yo, that's crazy coming from a Harder fan. It is, but you know what? That's neither here nor there. Whatever.
It is crazy.
Whatever. Yeah, no, impressive to the Suns. 30 wins. You know, they've just been continuing on that consistency pace. They've been a great offensive team, a great defensive team. Jalen Smith, the Chris Paul effect is real. Chris Paul effect is real. Big men playing with Chris Paul, it just feels like they have their best seasons. You know, you look at David West in the past. You look at Blake Griffin. You look at DeAndre Jordan. Like, you look at just bigs, DeAndre Ayton, he said it. Like, you look at bigs, like, they just feel like they just play so much better with Chris Paul, and that comes from being a true point guard. You know, a true, you know, playmaking point guard of this game. You know, Chris Paul, one of the best point guards in the game, in the NBA history, being that floor general. When you have a floor general, it just makes life easier for big men. And I think when we, you know what I'm saying, with Jalen Smith, they declined his option because I think they're in win now mode. And I just don't think Jalen Smith fits that timeline necessarily. I think they'd rather a veteran guy, a guy with some experience. Jalen Smith, you know, he's proved, listen, he's had 3 double-doubles, you know, 19 and 14, 19 and 12, 11 and 14. Both of those games, he had at least 1 block. So he's been impressive. He's been doing, and what the Suns have shown is no matter who goes down, you can plug in a guy and then they'll still be good. You know, Devin Booker went down, they were still winning games. Chris Paul has been that guy. He's able to just monitor the situation and game plan and be that LeBron-like player close. Like, him and LeBron are probably the smartest guys in the NBA. Chris Paul is probably the only guy who's probably on LeBron's IQ level in terms of just thinking about the game, watching the game, in terms of just being a coach on the court. Like, Chris Paul is that type of smart. So I think with Jalen Smith, you know, he's been good. He's been a great roller. He's been a great screener, and he's been a great rebounder. Defensively, he's been solid too. And definitely hopefully he plays more. You know, right now the situation could change, but he's been really good in his role.
Correction, he's actually a free agent this summer.
Wow.
Jalen Smith.
Rookie.
He's a free agent this summer.
Sign him.
I was going to say, you have JaVale McGee, whose contract's going to be up at the end of this season. Now, we see the impact that JaVale McGee has had since coming to the Suns. That being said, if Jalen Smith's going to continue to play like this and continue to show development, would it be that terrible if the Suns decided to move off JaVale McGee? Because JaVale McGee is going to want his money. JaVale McGee has proven his worth on the Suns. We've gone over it numerous times on the show about how JaVale McGee and DeAndre Ayton's numbers are pretty comparable once you look at JaVale's per 36.
You don't think that JaVale is a vet minimum player at this point in time? Like, do you see any team giving him a multi-year contract?
Yeah, I don't see that happening just because the Nets definitely would be one of those teams that I look at that desperately need it.
I look at JaVale McGee as Dwight Howard now, basically, where he's
better than Dwight Howard.
I know, but he's better than Dwight Howard. But I look at him in a way where Dwight Howard is floating from team to team every year on a 1-year deal. I think that's what JaVale McGee is basically going to be.
You don't think JaVale can't get a 3-year, 15 mil?
I don't know.
That's not
JaVale's
bad.
he's been one of the more
those centers
role playing big men in the league.
Centers like JaVale McGee are very replaceable in the NBA.
Okay. No, you told me.
I agree, but that defensive
different.
presence, that is what makes him different in my eyes.
No, I like JaVale McGee a lot. You know I love JaVale McGee a lot.
For sure.
But,
Me and we see eye to eye on that.
Yeah, but I just don't know if I see a team like giving him a multi-year deal.
The Nets honestly that's a great choice because the Nets desperately need a big man.
Facts.
That being said, to go on to my point,
piece?
I mean, they need a center.
JaVale McGee would be their missing piece if he was there. Yeah.
That would help a lot.
Yeah.
That would help a lot.
I know you laughed when we talked about JaVale McGee the other day.
It's just funny hearing that JaVale's the missing piece for a championship. That's just
Come on, bro. We're
funny.
living in 2022. We respect JaVale and his game.
Nah. You need this. Relax.
I'm
Avery
just
Bradley.
saying, bro.
Like, get over there. Like,
Yeah, it's messed up. Avery Bradley balled yesterday.
Oh.
He balled. All right, take it easy. You know, I want you to keep talking trash on my Lakers because it seems like whoever you trash talk, they start playing well. Malik Monk, now Avery Bradley. Who's going to be next? Stanley Johnson, right?
RJ Barrett?
Hey, that's not my guy.
Hey, why'd you even mention his name?
I know that was a stray. That was unnecessary.
We'll talk about the next. But on to your point about JaVale McGee and Jalen Smith and what you were talking about, Drew.
So 100%. So it would be interesting to see if they decide to move off JaVale. If JaVale's like, you know what, I actually want to settle down. I want a contract that I can work, use long term. And Jalen Smith continues to show development. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that they throw Jalen Smith a contract that's not going to be too egregious, where you're still getting value from that contract. And then Jalen Smith is going to continue to be on a prove it type mentality. Now, in terms of the Suns, in terms of Jalen Smith this season, it's going to be tough for Jalen Smith to do that because he got this opportunity because not only did JaVale McGee go down with COVID protocols, but also DeAndre Ayton went down in COVID protocols, which allowed Jalen to get this opportunity that he has gotten. And he's definitely sees it to his highest potential. That being said, it's going to be hard for him to maintain that now that both of them are cleared to play again. And it's going to, even though he has played very well, I don't see how the rotation would be that we start to see Jalen get more minutes. You look at last game, Cam Johnson is one of those irreplaceable players for them right now. Mikal, Jay Crowder's coming back from COVID protocols. Cam Payne has his solid role off the bench as the backup point guard. There's too many players right now. The Suns have the best problem in the NBA. They're one of the deepest teams, if not the deepest team outside of the Warriors, because I see Riv already making that face. That being said,
let me ask you a quick question. Sorry.
All right.
Who's deeper, the Bulls or the Suns?
I'm going to go the Suns.
Okay, that's fair. I'm
going to go the Suns. Because your bench unit right now, who's it? Is Kobe?
Caruso's not playing.
I was going to say Caruso doesn't start for y'all, so he would
Kobe, Io, he's been balling.
Io,
he's been
DJJ. We got some guys on the bench, man.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's like like I said, I just named basically all bench guys: Cam Payne, Cam Johnson, JaVale McGee. Now you add Jalen Smith to this mix. It gets a little bit more lenient towards the Suns now, but
they have a lot of depth. There's no doubt.
So now to the grand scheme of things, the Suns being a 30-win team, they've been playing some of the best basketball, if not the best basketball in the NBA. But we see when they match up against the Warriors do give them fits. And where the Warriors should not be out rebounding the Suns playing this small ball lineup, the Warriors have happened to out rebound them in every single game they've played, which is very surprising. That being said, credit to the Suns, credit to what Chris Paul is doing, credit to Devin Booker being the offensive presence that he is, and credit to Monty Williams, who is a top 3 lock for Coach of the Year. He's been phenomenal. All the adjustments he's made from last year into this year, keeping the Suns the consistent team that they've been. All the credit to the Suns, all the credit to what they're doing.
I mean, you guys know that throughout the past couple of weeks, whenever we talk about the Suns, I always mention I think DeAndre Ayton is replaceable. And this just further proves my point about that. Like Jalen Smith comes in and is averaging 16 and 10. I do think Ayton is irreplaceable in one aspect, and that's defensively. His switchability on the perimeter is what makes the Suns so great defensively and what makes them be able to match up with Golden State well, because Ayton is mobile and he can match up with guards and keep up on the perimeter. But Jalen Smith, offensively, I think he brings something to Phoenix that they don't have, not with Ayton, not with JaVale McGee. He can hit the outside shot. And what this guy's been doing has been incredible, basically relegated to the bench last season and this season until he got his shot. And as soon as he gets his shot, he's averaging 16 and 10. He's a free agent next year, unrestricted, because the Suns, Robert Sarver, refused to pick up his option. And that's just a miscue by them, because maybe they are going to look to trade him, because the way he's playing now, I guarantee you teams like OKC, like Houston, are looking at him like, maybe he can be a good piece for our young core. Toronto, who they need a center, can be looking at Jalen Smith like, man, this guy's 6'10", he can shoot, he can space the floor. We can really get this guy. I think Jalen Smith has proved himself with the Suns, and you look at his advanced numbers, he has a plus 9.8 point differential. Defensively, he is negative in minus 1.4 points per possession. And DeAndre Ayton, you look at his numbers, he has a minus 3.5 point differential, DeAndre Ayton. But on defense, he has a plus 5.1 differential. So offensively, Jalen Smith does give the Suns more than McGee, than Ayton. But defensively, that's where DeAndre Ayton really makes his money. And that's his bread and butter.
It's because he can shoot the three ball a little bit better than both?
I think so. And I really think that DeAndre Ayton's problem, what's holding him back the most, is his lack of aggressiveness at times. I think that DeAndre Ayton isn't always all the way there. And as a role man, he's not quite as aggressive as he should always be.
Let me ask you a question, because even like, okay, so I'm use, because I'm sure we all watch the Warriors games, right? Like all the times the Suns and Warriors played. Even when he was being aggressive against them in those games, I still felt like it wasn't like it wasn't really imposing. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't feel like the Suns were dominating the game with him. I just don't think he's that type of player. You know what I'm saying? Like where
he's the number one overall pick. I mean, he should be that player.
Sometimes it just doesn't pan out like that. You know, I think he's like a complimentary. Like I think when he dominates a game, it doesn't feel like he dominating. It may look like it in the numbers, but it just doesn't feel like they're dominating at all.
I don't know. I feel like he's dominated. I felt that. Yeah,
he was dominating.
In the playoffs, I felt like he imposed his presence and he really dominated. But talking about the Suns, I mean, you guys know how I feel. You know, even though they do have 30 wins, I still think it's Golden State and everybody else. Phoenix is going to have to prove themselves to me. They're a great team, and they're the second best team in the West behind Golden State. But I am still cautious about picking them in a series against them.
You picked them to go to the WCF, though, because they're first or second. The Warriors and the Suns won't see each other until the WCF. Do you think that's going to
be the matchup? Yep, in the WCF.
Don't let my lake show get hot. Don't
JC, what about
happen.
You?
Ain't nobody worried about
you. What do you think is you got the Suns going to WCF?
Yeah, they would be my say. I'm off the Lakers. Hopefully not, but hopefully the Lakers could change my mind though. Hopefully the Lakers could change my mind, but it's just, you know, the motto consistency that the Suns have shown since last year, this year in the playoffs. I mean, I was one of the people. I was in the train of thinking that their run was kind of fluky, you know. And you can't really blame me. They played a banged up Lakers team with LeBron James with a bad ankle, Anthony Davis missing some games. They played Denver without Jamal Murray, albeit he was out way before that series even started, but that was their second best player. And then obviously the Kawhi Leonard injury. So I was one that was kind of like, okay, like I want to see what this team does this year. First to 30 wins, like Joel said. I mean, I noticed I took notice this team early on in the season when I think I was one of the people that brought up the topic that we should discuss the Suns on their 8-game winning streak and how well they've played. And that actually ballooned into, I think, a 17, 18 game win streak that was, you know, snapped by the Warriors. But in that win streak, they also beat the Warriors. But you know, this team is really good. The emergence of Jalen Smith, I mean, I have the stats right here in his last, I want to say 6-7 games. He's given you a double, 16 points, 10 rebounds a game, 55% from the field, and he's shooting 39% from the three on 2 attempts. So he can show that he can stretch the floor. But you know, like I said, like I apologize to you guys earlier with your Warriors take. I'm still picking the Warriors to get out the West. I mean, like you know,
join the team.
They're getting Klay Thompson back tomorrow. I don't know when James Wiseman's coming back, but when they're fully intact, I mean, from top to bottom, this team is just defensively insane. And then you got two of the best shooters of all time on this team. It's going to be really hard to overcome that. I think the Suns can give them a competitive series. I think the series could go 6, maybe even 7 games. But just in the grand scheme of things, I just don't think the Suns have enough to just compete with this Warriors team that was en route to a dynasty before their injuries. They were going to three-peat. They won a ring before Kevin Durant, albeit with the Cavaliers' injuries. But, this is a team that won 73 games. You're putting all these guys back together and, adding more young players like Andrew Wiggins. And then you're getting Clay and everybody back. I just don't see anybody that could beat this team. But in the Western Conference Finals, I do pick the Suns and the Warriors. And I do think the Suns can give them a tough fight. But in the end, I feel like they'll ultimately come up short.
I like how you used the word balloon. I like how you used that word. That was real smart of you. When you said 8 games and ballooned and this, I like that. That was dope.
It was crazy.
Was dope.
I mean, it really depends, because back in 2018, nobody really thought that the Rockets were going to take the Warriors with KD to 7. And the Suns are the construction of their roster is eerily similar to that of the 17-18 Rockets. And I think they have better wing players. I think Mikal is better than Ariza at that point. I think Ayton Capella are around the same. It was the real significant difference is Harden and Booker. Like Harden is here, Booker is like here. Like Harden was on a different level that year. But even then, like Booker has shown that he can perform at a superstar level. And he's also shown that he doesn't quite have the blunders that Harden has in the playoffs. Like, at least from what we saw last year, Booker's was fairly consistent the entire playoffs and didn't have any moments that we looked at him and said, wow, he just looks like a complete shell of himself.